Well, there's a lot of pregnant people out here. So many of y'all. And half of y'all don't even know who's the father. That's where I come in and say, fuck them kids. Not for real, because I love kids. Well, not like, to catch a predator. I don't love kids like that. Even though I've been watching a lot of videos about predators and their stories about being predators. And that's why the aliens are found. It's funny how, we have aliens versus predators. But what if we actually had aliens versus child predators? And instead of discovering these aliens in their mummified bodies, shouldn't we just have like a graveyard of child predators and then put them on blast? But yeah, because they're the type to, wear a sundress and then watch your son dress. That's fucked up. Because they are some disgusting fellas. But not all predators are fellas. Some predators are unidentified objects. Like a UFO. And aliens. So basically, you're either a predator or an alien. Even the victim. You're a predator. And I need an alien to unidentifiedly take me right now to save me from this. Alright. Welcome to episode 217 of the Often Be Podcast with Clint Nelson. I am your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And don't forget to suck some titties. Sometimes you gotta wake yourself up. Now that's a slap in the face. But yeah. Recording this on September 14th. Yeah, September 14th. 2023 at around 7:23 a.m. For the FBI, when you're tracking me through my laptop because you're watching me record my podcast. You're basically like really the FBI. They're watching me record a live stream before it's ever put out there. So I see you, Jeff. Whatever you're investigating, it's probably the Wi-Fi that says beat the break 69 above. People in their Wi-Fi names, it's pretty insane. Get them peaches. Which, by the way, if you're watching something you shouldn't be watching, should you actually use your Wi-Fi or should you just use your data? I don't know. I don't partake in those activities, but something I've thought about. Not partaking in those activities because I would never watch people participating in sexual encounters that look like they're having a good time. Porn is the only thing that we actually shit on for people having fun, having a good time. If you to watch, two kids ride a roller coaster, you want to be like, oh, Jesus, who's recording this? Why are they screaming in joy? I should not say that in the same sentence. So I just realized now that's a scream machine. No pun intended, but there's a reason why those wood attachments were about to break every time you ride that shit. I'll crack your window seal and give you a kiss from a rose from the cock that you use to seal the windows. All right. Now that was a big reach right there. As they would say in the industry, that's a big reach. And well, I'm reaching out to you. And I got a big reach out here. I'm an influencer. And here's the thing about being, I hate that term influencer. Because, influencers actually don't influence you on anything. They're just popular. Like, influencer is just a lazy term to be like, hey, a lot of people watch me. I like 99% of the time, influencers are, average looking chicks putting eyeshadow on. And, they kind of look like what are they called? Have you ever seen the musical Cats? Anytime I see a girl do their makeup with the eyes and shit, they do the eyebrows, and then they're talking about, societal problems about capitalism as they're putting bat poop on their eyes. That probably a 5-year-old child had to go dig with their own hands in, the Bat Cave in Gotham City. Or you just had to go into, train station 9 in New York. West Side, baby. I don't even know what any of that shit means, but it sounds right. I'm from the East Side. But yeah, bat poop. Smear that on your campaign. So if Batman would ever run for office, if he were to run a smear campaign, would someone just smear bat poop on a sign and be like, yeah, how's it feel? Have your mom on here, Bruce. Get it? Because his mom died. And dad, because someone killed him in the alley. And I'm deep down in the alley right now. So deep. But you know what is good in the alley? Drake. When in doubt, Drake is my bailout. But supposedly he's dropping a single this week. And I wonder if he is single. What if him and... that's the thing, right? We've never had... Which, by the way, I didn't know Nelly and Ashanti. Now, that's what's love. I didn't know Nelly and Ashanti are actually together now. I actually saw her, it's like, Nelly's like, hey, my country grammar has hit the wall. And I don't get any more royalties. I need to stay popular. Ashanti's like, yeah, I don't even know what I do anymore. I just kind of, post hot, slithering, red tight, onesie pants on Instagram for 800,000 likes. But hey, if we combined, 20 years later, we can be a power couple. It seems like, if it took you 20 years to be like, hey, you know what, maybe we should give this a try. Maybe it was not your sign. Like her and Ja Rule, they're the one that had like 7 fucking hits together. Every Ja Rule song I know is him and Ashanti or 50 Cent buying all of his tickets. But hey, who's the real king in New York in hip hop? We got Biggie. We got Big Pun. Well, I'm a big pun. Well, I'm a malnutrition big pun. A big old puns for the buns. Yes, I wrote that down. Puns for the buns. Because let me tell you, a nice pun will get you half off at Hardee's. Because they're just desperate for anyone to go in there. No one actually goes to Hardee's. But yeah, no, I mean, Big Pun definitely enjoyed Hardee's. At least, Which, there's this big controversy. Speaking of, like, Fat Joe. I like a fat, sloppy Joe. Ugh. That sounded different in my head than it does. I just said I wanted a sloppy Fat Joe. A sloppy Joe, but fat. Ugh. This is not getting better. A sloppy Trader Fatty Joe. So I just combined a grocery store and a wrapper. Wrap that around your head. And then put it in your fridge. Ooh. This episode is so bad, but it's so good. See, kids, this is why you practice your shit every day. Do not, this is why your parents tell you that you got to practice all the time. Because if you take time off, you're going to be talking about Fat Joe. And nothing ever interesting or nothing good has ever happened after talking about Fat Joe. Not there's anything wrong with Fat Joe. I'm your average Joe. I used to be fat. And now I just prefer the fatties. PHATTIES. I felt like I was singing the ABC. PHATTI. See, some men prefer PhDs. I prefer PHATs. Fuck your PhD. It's like those conversations. What do you bring to the table? And they're like, well, I bring 2 master's degrees. I bring a intrigue of 2 conversation. I'm like, yeah, but I don't need your words to conversate. I need the cheeks to contemplate. Oh, let me clean that oven already. Fabuloso. Actually, you're not supposed to put that in the oven. I feel like you're not. But I'll tell you what is fabulous. Because you be killing them. Her feet are killing her. I call it shoeicide. This whole podcast is just shoeicide. And speaking of puns, speaking of my feet walking feels like shoeicide. I'm a blister of your imagination. You could, bandage it all you want. But let's just say no matter how much triple antibiotics you use, the first aid kit at your job is being abused. But I'm a big fan of abuse, Abuse builds calluses. And you need callus, you need strong, really, when you think about, if you work out, here we go with the gym talk. You work out, you build calluses on your hands. The first time you lift some or you put iron shit around, your hands are like, ow, I'm a little bitch. But then a year later, it's like, oh, it just becomes who you are. And now, it just literally is who I am, It's like people that inbred families. It's like, I didn't even know, but inbred families, basically where you have a lineage of keeping it all in the family, let's just say. They actually don't even depending on the chromosomes and shit, they don't even speak words. Sometimes they literally bark. That's their form of communications because everything's so out of whack. And maybe that's why we like dogs and cats, because it's hey, we know it's wrong to inbreed within the family. So we just need one thing in the household that just doesn't speak our language. And we can just look at it and be like, I own you, bitch. And that sounded so bad. I'm barking up the wrong milk bone here. But let me milk them titters with my bone. I got a bone to pick with you. And let's just say my hip bone is like a pink slip of eviction. Because once you realize that you've thrust it into a position that you cannot fully pay the due, the bill is still due. And that is how you get Amityville Horror. Which, by the way, I didn't know Amityville was in New York. It's just a movie I watched when I was younger. A man that can't stand his family. Well, he was possessed, whatever they want to say. But actually, as I've gotten older, I'm starting to think like, I don't think he was fully possessed. I think that man, it was tired of everyone's shit and just said, fuck it. And the possessed part is just to mask the fact that, like, he woke up and wanted to kill his family. I am not glorifying murdering your family or anyone or even hurting your family, because I am against abuse. Well, that's beyond abuse. And he fucking slaughtered a dog in a shed. But I feel like more nowadays people be more mad about that than, oh, well, maybe they didn't want the kids. I don't know. Abortion clinics weren't a thing back in the day. Well, it was. But you had to really go underground to get it. Nowadays, you just, put a Facebook ad. The weirdest part is the actual thing I remember saw a long time ago is that a woman that aborted a child, right? And I'm not shaming her for that. But then she went on Instagram or social, I don't know, one of those sites that you should not be talking about voluntarily about you doing that and not expect backlash, and should have kept it in the womb. I'm sorry, it was right there for the taking. The emperor's got its tomb. She was mummified. Well, the kid was mummified from having a mum. Okay. Oh, Jesus, Clint, what the fuck? Hey, I didn't do it, all right? You're the one that did it. It's funny when me get mad at you. Like, don't do it. What you said is like, you're the one that fucking did it. Like, the stress from my job. But no, I get it. Gerber life insurance policies are not insuring. It's only 3 cents a day, though. But shit, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, but no, she kept she would post like every day about like it was like if she like like when parents actually lose a child and like they post like, man, they would be 5 years old today. It's like, man, every day without people actually lose their children to like really sad shit. Like you're the reason it can't be seen or live. And then you're asking for sympathy in your post and be like, hey, if I didn't make that decision, they would be 4 months today. And you're just like, yep, they would. But apparently decisions were made outside of God's hands. But yeah, I'm a sharer, and so are they. Except they didn't want to share the world with, quote unquote, as they say in their posts, their whole world. And I guess she should have named her Jasmine, because she gave her a whole new world. And she pulled the rug under her feet. This is so wrong and bad. No. Put that genie in your bottle before you vacuum it out of your uterus. Okay, Clint. Oh my God. I didn't do it. Jesus. All right. But maybe this should be a rule of thumb, because you know what? It's like, hey, this video is going to get, good thing I don't get enough views to actually get demonetized, but this is demonetized before it's even demonetized. It may, when it's going through the processing, YouTube may halfway through be like, what the fuck is wrong with, send a personal note from the top of YouTube being like, you actually thought you can upload this? It's like, yes. And that insult to injury, I'm going to upload to the YouTube Kids channel. I need help. But you know what they say? You're blessed to be stressed. Or is it you're stressed to be blessed? Be stressed to be blessed. And I'm sure those people are never stressed because they never have to actually worry about anything to be stressed. It's almost like they took the easy way out of not adding stress to their life when they could have added 18 plus years of stress. Those are the type of people that will put that stuff on the front of their door and also put a pineapple to be like, hey, swing your way to my wayward son. My son. Alright, but anyways, moving on from vacuuming embryos. So I am a gambling gambit because, you know, I got a full deck for you. X-Men reference, Gambit, and I think it's also a chess reference because, you know, say it with your chest, mate. That was actually pretty good, but so bad. Say it with your chest, mate. Where's your fishing trips, you cremlet? Put a little pep in your dip step, you little dip whip, you little. What do you listen to, Diplo, on the weekends? Why do I sound Irish? What the fuck? All right. You know, I do. You know, I do want to go to like an Irish bar. I'm not an Irish guy. I'm pretty sure I have like 0.5% in it. You know, it seems like everyone these days we got 0.5% of something. You know, I got 0.5% of a vagina. A woman out here got 0.5% of dick. We're all the same. Clits are dicks. Dicks were once clits. And then you put the N in it, you get me. No one got it? Okay, just... Yeah, at the end, the clit. Yes, okay. Jesus, bully beat down. Take that, Nick. It's funny when someone who's fatter than you calls you fat when you're younger. Yeah. Take that, Nicholas. Good old St. Nicholas Donahue. How's it feel looking like anime transsexual? You zip face. Tit bag. Tits are bigger than, you know, diamond foxes with 3 X's. Smagadabadoo. Anyways, yeah. You know, I've always been one to be fed graham crackers for Halloween one year. Because, you know, I could dress up as Scooby, but have the hair like Shaggy. And then, I don't know, if I had to choose a version of a girl off Scooby-Doo to dress up with, would I want her to dress up as Daphne or Velma? Because, you know, Velma's got the jinkies. Velma's the actual freak. Like, if you know, let's be honest, she got a plump on that dump. She wants my lovely lady humps. But, you know, Daphne's got the, aw. But Velma's like, you're going to have to hear all the nonsense about, like, oh, well, actually, the protons. It's like, actually, well, if Scooby went here, that means the geographic latitude would have gone down 4 degrees, which means global warming is going to burn them alive because it's 128 degrees. And then Daphne's just a dumbass bitch. But but she'll accidentally, she's got a little pep to her step. She was definitely valedictorian, which actually she's not. She's actually pretty smart. She's like one of those like model girls that like go on the America, or what is it called? Like we're like not the sexiest woman in the world. What is it fucking called? Pageants? Yeah, where like they represent the state. And for some reason, like, I don't feel like they actually choose the best for each state. I definitely feel like there's some selective choosing. But she would be the one up there talking about like, oh, world, kids in Uruguay, there's just not enough food in the schools. Like, they need free lunches. And then they would ask her, be like, oh, well, what do you know about, fascism in Uruguay? And she'd be like, well, well, fascists, it's a fascinating subject. But yeah, speaking of, because Steve Harvey once fucked up one of those things by announcing the wrong thing. See, this is how we transition naturally. So apparently Steve Harvey's wife, Marjorie, she made a marginal error by apparently sleeping with his bodyguard, who has a history of being a motherfucking PIMP. He's like, I know what you heard about me. And she's about to get 50 cents of Steve Harvey's dollar. Every single one of them. But that's the thing, right? Like, of course no one feels bad for Steve Harvey. And not that he's an unlikable guy. Because, I think he's actually very likable for the most part. But, like, you always feel like he's always pandering. He's always... It's like, you're talking about all this about, like, treat women like royalty. Woman... And all this shit. And yet, you look at his history. He's been married 3 or 4 times. Cheated on all of them. Margie had a weird history. Kind of ignored it. Took her... And, it's like all this, like, selling... about, oh, she's the greatest thing that happened. And now this comes out, and it's like, damn, I feel bad to an extent that this happened the way it happened. But, Bill only did it once. And he kept Monica's oval in the office. I kind of find it ironic that, Monica did the Bill in the Oval Office, but she was never ovulating. Ovulating? Now that's a Bill of Rights. But Steve, Jesus, I think the only way now, maybe the only way to kind of resurrect his image, maybe Steve Harvey should run for president. He'll be like, now let me tell you why I got married. Why did I get married? It's like, yeah, you know what? Those movies don't age well for him, let's just say. But yeah, oh, Steve. Jamie Foxx's show was better than the Steve Harvey show. But you know what? No one can say nothing about that, because then he'll end up in the hospital for 3 months and can't talk about it again. Still a weird incident. But I'm a big Jamie Foxx fan. I love Jamie. Pull it up, Jamie. But yeah. So, have you ever pulled a bunny out of your laundry basket and, read it your fortune cookie and said, hey, Easter came early this year. Don't want to egg you on. But I need fabric softener for your skin. Because I heard that here comes Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny rail. Hippity hoppity. Your girlfriend was on my spay. Can bunnies be neutered or spayed? I don't know. But they can spray. And they can hippity hoppity away like Hip Hop Harry. That's why I want to dress up as Hip Hop Harry. 3 H's. That's the real Triple H. Get out of my nose. WWE. I'm a walking wet erection. I don't know why your erection would be wet unless it was set in his ways. If you ride the ripple effects, that will be the end of your day. Because that means you drowned under the current of recording your podcast. So, you know what they say? When a faucet's dripping, you become like Michael Jordan's son, and you pound Larsa Pippen. It's basically Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen were teammates back in the day. And now Michael Jordan's son is with Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa. So let's just say she's getting Michael's secret stuff. She's on space for that jam. And her face looks like a monster, I can tell you that. Whew, she's had some procedures. She's had some procedures. Ass weed proceed. But yeah. So, if you wear a size too big, does that mean you're filling in? Or does that mean you're inching towards your growth spurt? Because if you're really growing, there's all these people out here talking about you should never stop growing. Like you're some big fucking Jack in the Beanstalk. Like, you know what? The second you stop growing, maybe you two aren't destined for each other. The problem is when one, I hate that term. One person outgrows the other. It's like, no one outgrew. Like, no one outgrows someone else. Because that's an insinuation that I'm doing more than you. I outgrew you. So, it's time for me to move on. Well, really, all you did was people change, It doesn't mean you outgrew someone. It could be what they view as something bigger and better for themselves is different from you, and what you deem to be growing isn't necessarily the same as what someone else deems to be growing. But we always like to use terms that make ourselves feel like we're, growing on you. Well, that's what I like to say. You can't have a little on you. You gotta have it in you. And I know a thing or two about that. Why have it on you when you can have it all the way in you? And that takes time. It's easy just, because sometimes it could be a slap in the face. Sometimes it could be a laughing to the bank case. But one thing you know is you're going to have withdrawals. Because, the bank and, shaking. Shake and bake. Jesus. Shake and bake sounds so not appropriate. But yet, kids love shaking and baking. I mean, nowadays, kids twerk for the TikTok. Nowadays, kids will, smoke a hottie for the Twitter. And nowadays, kids will, sell their mom's vintage set from 1994 for a good old $40 on the dark web. And just say, hey, she didn't prepare for my financial future, so this is my way of taking matters into my own hands. Little did he know is that video was not a tape for the masses. It was the conception video of him. So he just sold literally his conception video for $40, which means his life is only worth $40, which means he's worth less than the average child in these big trafficking cases on the cheapest rates. He is the equivalent of if you were to buy a Ritz cracker, an individual Ritz cracker, out of the Ritz cracker box. Not even a whole sleeve, not even half a sleeve, literally 2 crackers out of 1 sleeve. That's how much he is worth. Because he sold himself short and he didn't value himself. So, moral of the story is, if you're going to watch How You Were Conceived, at least make sure you watch it all the way through. Because at the end, he would have saw that his dad was Steve Harvey after all. All right. Now that's a deep dive. Michael Phelps style. Now that's a butterfly effect. Still don't know what butterfly effect is. All I know is that I like butterfly shrimp. And shrimp cocktails with the lovely lady. We have shrimp cocktails, which is basically a martini glass of cocktail sauce and then the shrimps around it. So why don't we have tartar shrimps where it's a martini glass of tartar sauce and then a ring of shrimp? Is it because there's too much iodine poisoning potential? And if you've ever swept and peeled a shrimp from the source, you also understand that shrimp and grits is a 80-year-old's idea of a wet dream thrill of a night with her hubby from New Haven, Connecticut. It's Connecticut! Yeah, welcome to Madagascar. Because old sugar honey iced tea. I am really getting through this. It's not even the fact I don't have an idea. is because this is why I don't do it when I'm tired. This is why I don't do it. Because my nose is stuffy, my eyes are puffy, and that's not straight. I'm beyond scared straight now. Speaking of being beyond scared straight, have you ever seen a Pegasus man? Get it? Pegasus? He peg a sus man? Because he is a sus horse. And that's why they got big tubs of horse semen. Because horses. So wait, now that I think about it, hold on a second. Let me break this down. So the freaking horse kid off Hercules, was that because a horse mated with a human? And we're just going to blow that under the rug? Can horses mate with humans? Is that actually possible? Like, can cross species impregnate each other, or can only species impregnate each other? Could a cat impregnate a dog? Well, it'd probably be vice versa. Like, I don't think we're ever going to see a cat fuck a dog. It would always be the other way around. Dogs are more, present. Cats just sit there and take it and then give you an ugly look after. Like, how dare you inseminate inside of me? Give you such a look like, you wanted this. You said, come here, you nincompoop. And so then the little black lab golden retriever like, I can't believe I'm talking about crossbreeding right now. I feel like I'm breaking all the YouTube guidelines this episode, but you know what? They deserve it. Oh, Jesus. I'm either going to gain 8,000 subscribers off this video or lose every single one and have negative 85. Which, by the way, I've gained 4 subscribers this month. Big old 5-4. At this rate, I'll be at 100 in 1 year. 1 a week equals you make my whole anal week. Hey, not mine. It's just a joke. I actually did once title one of my podcast episodes. I remember I used to be so good at like coming up with these titles. It was like, you made my whole week. And I spelled it W-H. No, I spelled it. It was like, you made my whole anal week, or whole week anal week whole. Some with the anal being weak in the hole. I don't know. You know, it was a hole in one. Because, you know, that's the thing with anal, you know. You got to decide if you're going to putt, taparoo, or if you're going to drive and get the big club out. You know what I mean about the big club. You know, you make sure you're extra hydrated. You know, you take a pill. You buy one of those Mega Jack eggs from Chevron. And it has ashwagandha in it. And apparently ashwagandha fucking makes you have the dick the size of a curtain or something. But yeah, I once had a vase thrown at me. And let's just say I couldn't evase the situation. I got skin in the game, and it cut deep. First cut is the deepest. Oh, baby, I know, Sal. Let me alone. I'm not about glorifying abuse. All I'm saying is that, it keeps it interesting. Not really. Jesus Christ. I can feel the audience, people I've never met before. It's like, hey, it's not funny you joke about abuse. There's people out there have been abused. It's like, yeah, give back. Slap, tap, and drap it. You know what? I'm just gonna start freestyling. How about that? I'm in a daze, and I'm gonna go back to the old days I often beat, where I would just randomly rap sometimes. All right, hey, you got drapes, I got grapes. You wanna feed me? Great. You wanna listen? Let's listen. Who's dropping this week? That's Drake. Oh shit. You wanna take care? But nothing was the same. Hey, you want to come back to my place. You want to get drugs that are laced. I said, wait, no, wait. There's no fentanyl in this pill. She said, it can if you will. I was like, first let me write my will to leave 100K to no one. Because I don't have 100K. The only K I got is text messages that say okay, K. Yeah. I can leave some Old Navy points. She could buy so many shirts. Then she can use an old credit card that has about 8,000 on. That's worth. Yeah. I'm so rusty. I'm the definition of when you don't use it, you lose it. When you don't rap, you lose it. I don't know how to explain it. Well, I guess I am the 95, and you're the Weeknd on the Drake album. Get it? 'Cause yeah. Don't pop my house of balloons. Oh, Jesus. The inspiration is creeping and seeming. I see the seams, and my semen is ready to see man. Hey, man. Jesus. If I were to be a young boy again, well, if they always say, when you get older, you always think about all the things you would do different when you were a child. I'll tell you the only thing I would change when I was a child was when Jesse made my dog attack him by throwing a basketball at his head. I'm sorry to rehash this. The only thing I wish I would have done was throw Jesse down in the woods into the creek. And then, let nature take its course. Because you know what? This whole thing of and someone brought up, it's kind of interesting, right? A dog attacks a child. The dog has to be put down, essentially. No ifs or buts, no matter what everyone said. It doesn't matter what incident cured. It doesn't matter what the child, all that stuff doesn't matter. But I watch these videos where going back to predators, these child predators openly talk about after years or whatever, or when they're in jail, or when they are quote unquote on probation, they did for all this sadist nonsense they did. And you listen to them talk about what they did. And I did it, the only reason why I listened to the videos of these predators talking was because it's truly still hard to fathom, regardless of how long you live, of how someone can actually do these things to children and to the extent. And then to hear them talk about the extreme detail. And this stuff's on YouTube. So you know what? YouTube, go ahead. Demonetize. Shit on me. Block my video from being seen. But then I literally watched a video on your channel where a guy's talking about diddling with 18 different 12-year-olds in his neighborhood, being a stepfather, taking over someone, basically meeting someone, being a stepfather, and then using the fact that, well, I could always rationalize it because since I knew it's not my child, it didn't mean anything to me. These are the type of shit you can actually find on YouTube. But you hear these things, and then they get 5 years, and he got like literally like temperament behavioral assistance. He only had to spend a couple months in prison, and all this nonsense. And he's just open to talk, like, he likes show all this stuff, saying his desires. But then we have to put a fucking dog down because he wants to throw a fucking Wilson basketball at the dog's head. Then we have these child predators. Like, you tell me who's really more harmful to children. Huh? Because at least a dog, I bet when he comes around the corner and sees that dog, he's going to think twice about what he does. But he has to see that child predator every day, all the time in the neighborhood. And everyone knows about it. But you know what? What do I know? Yeah. Just putting that out there. I like to keep things very calm and very loose on this pod, as you could tell. I like to keep things very, I don't like to talk about anything too serious. I just like to talk about things that are nonsense. Today's sponsor. My fourth sponsor that they're not paying me yet. Dunkin' Donuts. Because you know what they say. America runs on Clint talking about Dunkin' Donuts. Because without me, they would have a crazy dip in their stock. It would be more big than when Elon Musk said that it would be a bigger dip than when Elon Musk went on a podcast and smoked weed, and then Tesla stock went down like 60% for like a week. It would be a bigger dip than that. Because, me and Elon Musk were very similar people. Because we would name our kids very untraditional names. If I had 3 kids, right? I think let me think. I would name one Reginald, right? And then if it was a girl, I would name it Zariah. It has to be a Z. Like, there's too many people that don't have a Z. I like Z's. I like to sleep. Nothing but Z's. And then I have to have an X, like the letter X to start a name. So you know what? We'll name the third one xylophone or something. Because you know what? No one plays the xylophone. So you know what? It's like, people name their kids after freaking Hope. Like, people name their kids Hope. Because that's all they hoped they had. Was their kid provided hope to, do something to provide the hope for their... Like, there's no rich people that name their kids Hope. It's always poor people that name their kid Hope. Because it's like, we gotta, if like we manifest a name into our child, they will rise up, It's like when people name the kids Charity or Destiny. And Destinies are always sluts, okay? There's no in between. They're either strippers or they're, pregnant by 15. No in between. I know, generalizing. But you know what? All generalizations come from a good place. The cold, hard truth. I'll give her that tenacious D. The pick of destiny. Oh, someone swiffer me up. Jesus. You know how you know this is a rough one? When the cat has even given up. The cat has just done their own thing. Like, you know what? I can tell it's been a while. And I'm going to hit the hour mark. Because you know what? I'm a man of commitment. And I've made it this far. If you can... You know what they say? If you can last an hour... That pussy is sour. Imagine, you know, I'm pretty sure there's some tantra shit out there where if you have an hourglass, not an hourglass, yeah, an hourglass. You know, the thing where you tip it and then sand drips, sand or salt, whatever, drips little by little, and it's a time lapse thing. I'm pretty sure there's some connectivity where people that are so obsessed with that, if you flip it and they immediately penetrate the second you flip it, no matter what they do actions, they will end exactly when the last drip of sand dips in that hourglass. I'm pretty sure that's a real thing because you become connected to time. And if we're really in a simulation... I still honestly don't really know what the fuck that means. We're in a simulation. It means like we already lived a life, but we're in a different life within a life. So really, we're just playing the game of life. Which is kind of a weird thing to worry about if you're in a simulation. Even though there was a weird thing on Twitter. Because Aaron Rodgers, you know, he tore his Achilles. And apparently there's this weird thing going around. This account on Twitter got deleted by Twitter because they literally predicted 2.5 hours before the game. And they put, this Twitter user said 2.5 hours from now, Aaron Rodgers is going to tear his Achilles. So, and guess what happened 2.5 hours later? He tore his Achilles. So, people are speculating he's a time traveler. But here's the thing people don't realize about time travelers. Time travelers don't want you to know that they're time travelers. Because there's no real incentive, right? But, you know, why would the account be deleted? Is Twitter trying to hide some, or is it because it exposes some? Like, it is odd that he predicted a very... It is one thing to say a player is going to get injured. But, like, he said the Achilles. And that's exactly what he injured. And that's not, like, the most common of common injuries for that position either. It's not like, oh, he's going to get concussion. But I don't know, you know. I just found it interesting. But yeah. I would go back to the future, but Marty McFly likes to, you know, suck some titties on a spacecraft. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with someone admitting they like to, you know, milk the titters. You know, they call it mad cow disease. Well, you know, would it be, you know, you can milk a cow with your hands. Is it unsanitary to just suck it out with your mouth? Or do you need to apply some crazy pressure that the mouth can't really suck it out? Hey man, I don't milk cows, alright? I don't even drink milk that often. MILF and cookies. Are you a Cookie Monster? I think that's how the Cookie Monster. Going down to Sesame Street. So why was Sesame Street named after like sesame seeds? Because it's just a bunch of critters and animals spreading their seed, because it's really just all like the movie Rent where they're all spreading HIV. Because think about it, they live in the inner city. Grouch and them live in garbage. They all just kind of roam around the streets. They're all basically a resemblance of like the movie. You guys know the movie Rent. I've never seen Rent in its entirety, but I understand the plot line. It's a bunch of struggling New Yorkers, actors, and all these things. Some were struggling with addiction and during the HIV epidemic. And Sesame Street was kind of created around that time. So maybe it's actually a reflection of like the AIDS and HIV, and they just put nice little characters. And they're like, tickle me, Elmo. And then the guy that plays Elmo turned out to kind of be, I believe, a predator too. Shocker. So maybe Sesame Street is for the gays. And the ones with AIDS. Straight people can get AIDS too. Yeah. Straight people can get anal canker sores too. Highly unlikely though. Unless you put some yogurt in it to soften the blow. On that note, tricks are for kids, and Sea Drizzle is out. That was episode 1. No, Jesus Christ. Episode 217. This is how you know this is. Woo. Episode 217, the Often Be Podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. But most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. As the battery's about to die out, that's why I'm speaking so fast, like I'm doing a Pfizer commercial. All your side effects will be compensation, nausea, and Adderall. But yeah, have a great day, and please don't share this episode at all. Do me a favor. Do not share. Do not share. Sharing is not caring. It's actually ruining my ranking